Total War Warhammer 3's launch is just around the corner, and there are a lot of different options for campaigns in the base game across Cathay, Demons, Ogres, and Kislev. Altogether, you're looking at 11 legendary lords, and with that is quite the decision of which campaign you want to play. In this video series, I'll be giving you a spoiler-free campaign overview to help you decide if it's the right campaign for you. Each campaign will play differently, with an emphasis on particular playstyle, unit choice, or mechanic. Our second video in this series will highlight Skarbrand, the forsaken bloodthirster of Khorne that leads the Exiled Ones. Rampaging through the campaign map, you'll reap a bloody toll as Skarbrand seeks to regain Khorne's favor with his completely face-melting capabilities. You'll be able to find the rest of these videos as they're made, linked in the playlist in the upper right corner and end of this video. If this is your first time on my channel, the way I do these videos is by giving you a no spoiler breakdown. I'll boot the game up on turn 1 of the campaign, I'll explain the mechanics of the character in question, show you their skills, quickly show off their research tree, and then give you an overall idea of what the campaign plays like. Keep in mind that this is not a guide, but a quick campaign overview to help you decide which campaign to play when Total War Warhammer 3 launches. Feel free to jump ahead to any part of this video that interests you the most using the chapters denoted in the timeline and the description. Before we get started, if you have not yet pre-ordered Warhammer 3 and intend on buying the game, you can support the channel by using the link to my Nexus Store. Nexus provides Steam keys directly from the developer, and I get a cut of every sale, which helps keep the channel alive. Lastly, if you end up enjoying the content, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. I cannot tell you how much that helps out. But let's get started here on Skarbrand's campaign summary in Total War Warhammer 3. Loading into the campaign, we've got Skarbrand the Exiled One, the Siberian husky of Khorne with his mismatched eyes. Let's go through this really quick. His Wrathful Reaper faction effect here, which is going to give him army replenishment in foreign territory, diplomatic relations -20 with Khornate factions. Remember, this is an Exiled Bloodthirster of Khorne. Most other Khornate factions do not like him, so that's why he has that diplomatic penalty. Campaign movement range plus 25% after raising a settlement for all characters. And that is a really nice ability that will stack here. His suitable climates are going to be Frozen, Wasteland, Mountain, and then Chaos Wasteland. Unpleasant for him is going to be Temperate, because why would he like Temperate? Temperate Island, Savannah, Desert, and then Jungle. And then lastly, for uninhabitable, we have a Magical Forest, which we all know that Skarbrand just absolutely hates, and then the Ocean. So moving into his unique mechanics, he's got some pretty fun ones. The first one I want to talk about here is the Skull Throne. So this will last for 10 turns, and then it'll be on a 10-turn cooldown, and it will cost you 2,000 skulls, which we'll go into in just a little bit here. But what this will do is it'll give him a campaign movement range of plus 25% after raising a settlement, income from post-battle loot plus 25%, army ability Summon from Beyond, which essentially allows him to summon 2 charges of Bloodletters onto the battlefield with a 2-minute timer in between, and then Blood Hosts plus 2 on create, plus 2 units on creation. We'll get to that in just a little bit as well. So let's go ahead and look over here at this. So 25% campaign movement after raising a settlement. Combine that here with Skull Throne. That's so juicy. A 50% campaign movement range bonus after raising a settlement. And you'll be doing that a lot as Khorne. I'm going to show you how those mechanics kind of play into both his skulls and the Blood Host in just a second here, as we show you what I do to Jorhul down there. So that is his first mechanic in the Skull Throne. Now for the skulls, this is an important one too. So any kills in battle will supply you with skulls and can be collected from skull piles dropped by other factions in corrupted provinces. Consume them when occupying settlements and technology. So we're going to notice this when we play as the other monogod factions. And again, guys, this is development in progress right now. I'm on an early access build of the game, so you might notice some stuttering and stammering of the game, and some values might change when the game comes out, so just a quick heads up. But all the monogods have a specific corruption for their faction, and this is represented on the map. So you can see right here it's red and it's all volcanic, it's got the magma everywhere. That is Khorne's corruption. If I go over here, it's kind of green and there's pustules everywhere. That is Nurgle's corruption, and somewhere over here is Slaaneish's corruption. But what's important is that if someone's fighting in Khorne corrupted territory, they will drop skulls even if it's not you. So you can go and scoop those skulls up, because these skulls you're going to get from either buildings, combat trials, which I'll show you in a second here, events, kills, raising settlements, from skull piles, which we just talked about, certain technologies, your unholy manifestations. Guess what? We're going to talk about that in a little second here too. And you then use them for certain events, certain pop-up events, certain settlements. In order to settle them, it's going to cost you 2,000 skulls to do so. Technology is going to be used about 300 skulls per technology, and then to activate the skull throne here. So we're going to go ahead and click this, just kind of turn it on, and you can see you have called upon the blood god, and he has heard your cry. So that is important for what I'm about to show off in a second. Now, his other ability is bloodthirsting, and this is the same one that the Demon Prince can get access to as well. So this gauge, if you've played Total War Warhammer before and you maybe played as the Greenskins, you're familiar with this gauge. But this gauge will increase the more you fight enemies. The more battles you win, the more this goes up. And if the more battles you do not fight, the longer you wait in between fights, the turns it takes, it will decay from inactivity. So right now, we are here. We're at bloodletting, maiming. This will progress up to mutilating, murdering, and then finally to massacring. And each one is going to give us a bonus to the same attributes, just in varying magnitudes. So upkeep minus 5%, growth plus 25 in all provinces, casualty replenishment rate plus 1%, Khorne corruption plus 0 at this current level, and then global recruitment duration minus 1 turns. So remember, he can recruit in enemy territory as a virtue of being Skarbrand, which is quite nice. We'll jump into that when we go into his character skills. So you can see how this can all really work very well together, because you go up this more, upkeep's reduced further, growth is increased more, and then all the way to the top here into massacring, 20%, 70 growth, 4% casualty replenishment, 6 Khorne corruption, and then minus 2 to global recruitment to a minimum of 1. So you'll need to do this. 9 battle victories required for this level, and after you hit this level, it takes 2 turns until decay from inactivity. So right now we're here, we have 2 turns basically to get more fighting, and if we don't, we'll progress down here into inactive, which will lose growth and melee attack, which sucks. So you really want to be able to use that. So the way you can kind of work around that, or tool it to the way you want it to be, is this right here, unholy manifestations. So every god is going to have 4 different unholy manifestations, and these unholy manifestations are geared upon your level of corruption. So it's your total corruption. So if I hover over this, it shows us this is the total amount of Khorne corruption across the entire world. Each threshold will unlock a new unholy manifestation. So there's the thresholds there at 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000. It'll unlock Call to Battle, campaign movement range, skulls gained from kills plus 100% for Slaughter Incarnate, and then lastly, Khorne's Glare, which I thought just read Khorne's Galore, which I thought was way funnier. Local settlement will be raised upon completion. Campaign movement disabled during completion time, but you'll get 10,000 skulls. So it's a great way to just reap a ton of skulls. But this first one here is really crucial. Eternal War summons a small hostile army that will attack the target army immediately. Why this is beneficial is that if you're in a situation where your bloodletting is about to decay, you can use Eternal War, pop into a fight on your own faction, and keep that bloodletting going. It is so crucial to ensuring that you actually maintain bloodletting. Now, part of the unholy manifestations, and this is with all Chaos Gods, is the great game here. The way that this works is you will ascend. Whoever has the most chaos corruption on the map ascends, and when they ascend, they get certain bonuses, and I don't want to ruin them, and there's certain kind of events that happen when you've ascended. Again, trying not to spoil those, but ascending is a really big portion of this, and you have the other 3 Chaos Gods to contend with, so you're fighting against their overall chaos corruption. So these are just some of the unique mechanics for Khorne, and let's go ahead and do this very quickly. We're going to go ahead and kill this guy. We'll just auto-resolve it, because this is another important mechanic for Khorne that we want to go over. And we can offer tribute, we can devour captives, and then we can reap captives here. Let's just go ahead and press this, and we'll progress to this next area, because remember, we're getting a 50% bonus because we've won. Actually, not 50%, we have to raise the settlement first. But we'll do that right now. And we'll go ahead and auto-resolve for the sake of the video. Go ahead and push that. So now, here's the last mechanic I want to talk about that is very important for Khorne. Actually, no, we got one more. So we've got Skulls for the Skull Throne. We can choose to raise the settlement and get 1,000 skulls. Or we can press Blood for the Blood God. It's going to give us some replenishment, and then we spawn a host, a blood host. This army cannot recruit or exchange units with other armies, and it will take damage over time, but its survival can be extended by fighting battles, which is so sick. It allows you to keep this army going as long as you're pushing it more and more into your enemy. And the cool thing about it too is you're not paying to have these armies recruited. You will pay their upkeep though, so keep that in mind. And the nice thing too is as you just kind of throw them at your enemy, they can weaken them for Skarbrand to come in and reap the ultimate toll. Do keep in mind though that if you want to occupy, it's going to cost you 2,500 skulls. So I'm going to press Blood for the Blood God just to show this off. And we have got this guy right here, the Crimson Hounds, who comes up. And as you progress up your tech trees and make new things, these things will become bigger and better because you'll have more things that'll add to the Blood Host unit creation. Remember this little ditty up here? Let's close that. This ditty right here that says, I'm sorry, that's on the Skull Throne. That says, it's right there. It says +2 to units on creation. That's because of the Blood Host here. That's what it's applying to. Now, the true last thing I want to talk about is this Brass Glacier here, how it is now completely ruined. And what does that mean? You know, I'm trying to make my empire for Khorne. Well, let's jump into the building browser here. So all monogods will have, for their provincial capitals, have the decision to make either a portal or a bastion. And the bastion will give you infrastructure bonuses and corruption as well as growth, versus the portal, which will also give you growth, but it'll give you construction cost reduction and recruitment cost reduction for military, as well as local recruitment capacity. So you can see those two little ditties here. But for Khorne, both of these things say, and I can't pin this, but you can see it says 5% chance at the very bottom, 5% chance to automatically colonize ruined regions in province at turn start. That is huge, because there's also a building that is in for minor settlements that allows you to increase that number by 2, 5, and 7%, I believe it is. Or maybe it's 2, 3, and 5%. But either way, you can increase that percentage even further. Then there's a technology that adds another solid 5. So every turn you have a base 10% chance between that technology and that capital to just automatically colonize this. It's called Drawn to Destruction. It will automatically go and colonize for you, and it is great. How they play. The forces of chaos are incentivized to raise settlements as they conquer. Demonic armies may be summoned when a settlement is raised, and control of a ruined settlement will fall in time to any Khorne faction that partially controls the province it's in. So it's an awesome way to reap across the land and have the settlements behind you start to pop up in your name because you have this auto-convert mechanic. But that covers all of our unique mechanics for Khorne. Let's go into some skills now. So moving into the skill tree, we see some things that Skarbrand gets natively, his campaign effects. So campaign movement range plus 35% after winning a battle, then recruitment cost minus 35% when in enemy or raised territory, which is just really, really nice. Also too, as far as abilities go, he's got fear, terror, and courage, demonic, the new wounds mechanic that makes it so that if you're a single entity below 25% health, you're not going to be doing as much damage. Demonic instability and banished, as well as frenzy, which is always lovely. And he's got siege attacker, which is nice, and then a physical and spell resistance of 20 and 25% respectively. Of course, we get the new magic items and ancillaries menu that I have covered in my UI rework video. You can find that linked in the upper right corner. So let's move into actual skills here. And for the most part, all of this will be new because we do not have any generic Khorne characters now, right? So we've got our blue line, which is going to have Route Marcher, server die for recruitment costs, casualty replenishment, income from raiding, corruption, the typical kind of fare of other blue lines in past games, for the exception of Lightning Strike. Remember, Lightning Strike doesn't completely remove reinforcements now. It increases the battle reinforcement time by 50% at a max level. At default, they come in at about 1:55. Now they'll be coming in 50% later if you've got that. But just to kind of quickly scrub over these for anyone who wants to see them, increase your skull gain, your upkeep reduction, campaign movement, stuff like that. Then for your red line, you're going to be giving bonuses to all of your Khorne respective units. But you get Kill for Khorne, which is a passive ability, which is going to give an aura around him of 35 meters, which is going to increase melee attack and leadership. Then you get Revel in Slaughter, which is going to increase leadership and melee attack as well. It's going to replace Kill for Khorne. Then for his yellow line, this will be the same for any other yellow line of Khorne character, but everything is going to give weapon strength bonus. It's just also going to give something like melee attack, melee attack, melee defense, in this case physical resistance, which I find pretty handy, right? You can get an extra 10%, making him have a 30% physical resistance, which is just juicy. But then we get Bellow of Endless Fury here, which is a magic missile attack. Get 3 uses of it. It's got a nice AP and explosive damage and a 90-meter range. But then more and more and more weapon strength. That's the name of the game. We are Khorne after all. Then lastly, Fueled by Rage, which is a passive ability, increasing his AP and weapon damage as long as his hit points are less than 50%. So kind of wild there, right? Now, for his character specific line, we get Rage Incarnate, which is basically going to make everyone rampage around him, which is just spot on what he had pretty much in tabletop, which is pretty cool. But then we get his special skills. And if you want kind of like a little, I know this isn't a guide, but here's a cool tip. Wait until level 8 or 9. Don't spend any points. Then at level 13, when this line unlocks, just jump down all of it, because Restless Fury is going to give you 15% after winning a battle. It stacks with your native 35 up to 50, which is glorious. Gives you Vanguard deployment, Wrathful Reaper, which turns him into a buzzsaw. 50% AP and base weapon damage, 50, I thought I said 15, but 50. Drinker of Blood, which is going to give him Gore Feast, which gives him a passive regen as long as he's in combat, and income from post-battle loot plus 15%. Anarchy of Madness is going to reduce control and increase Khorne corruption in enemy provinces. And then Locust of Endless War, it increases the units on creation, all characters faction-wide, which is nice, by 3 for your blood hosts. So if you were in a Skull Throne event, plus this, that would be 5 more units on creation for your blood hosts. It's very strong. Then everyone gets Hates Slaanesh, melee attack bonus and weapon strength bonus when fighting against Slaaneshi factions. So those are all of your skills here for Skarbrand. Lastly, too, he does have his quest item for Slaughter and Carnage, which is going to give you income from post-battle loot, Khorne corruption, recruitment cost reduction, melee attack, armor piercing, and then the ability Slaughter and Carnage, which is sick. So effect intensity increases with each kill made by the unit. So as you kill more units, so if you get 100, you get 100% more base weapon damage and AP. I think it actually might be 0.5%, but either way, the more you kill, the stronger he becomes, which is so flavorful and so awesome when you're playing as Skarbrand the Exiled here. So let's move now into some research. We won't be going through every single thing here, but this is just to show you the research tree and how it works for Khorne. It's very straightforward. Pretty much all you need to do is research 3 in this, then to go to the next pillar. These pillars represent the pillars at the heart of the Brass Citadel. It says it here in the description. These are the pillars that basically have the commandments of Khorne all around them, around Khorne's throne room, more or less. So Pillar of War, Pride, Prowess, Wrath, Defiance, Rivalry, all the way up to Honor. And you just have to simply get 3 in the previous to progress to the next. And you can see stuff like here. This is Tsar Enders when fighting against Kislev, when fighting against Tzeentchian factions. So just simple ways that you can focus stuff. And you can say, hey, you know what? I want to focus on warriors. So we're going to type in warriors here. All right, well, there's my Warriors one, right? It shows me and highlights any ones that are going to give me bonuses towards Warriors. There's another one right there. Melee attack when fighting against Warriors of Chaos, stuff like that. So you can kind of fine tune and check to see which of these researches make sense. But I think, though, the one I like the most in the very beginning is Spread Rage, because 5% chance to automatically colonize ruined regions and province at turn start, adding to your native 5, bring you to a nice 10%. It's just juicy. One thing here before we jump into some of the stuff on the battle map is the Herald of Khorne. This unit can progress to becoming an Exalted Bloodthirster of Khorne. And the question that a lot of people have been asking is, how do you make that happen? Well, myself and IndiePride have been talking about this because it's like we don't really know exactly what triggers it. We don't know if it's a certain amount of kills or whatnot, but it seems to occur at a random level after a certain threshold. We haven't seen it occur from 1 to 10, but he had it occur at level 13. I've had it occur at level 14, and I've seen other content creators say it happens at level 15. So we don't know if there's a set circumstance, but it seems to be pretty random after level 10 or level 13 at least, that would trigger it. So just to let you know, that's how you get your Exalted Bloodthirster. Simply level up a Herald of Khorne, which is your generic lord for Khorne. Jumping onto the battle map, I want to quickly go over the combat mechanic for Khorne, as every single character in the game does have a specific one. So if I look over here, we get Horn of Khorne. This will basically give us a melee attack bonus of plus 24 in a 35-meter radius round for 31 seconds. Now there are two other abilities, which I'm not going to spoil, but the way that you get access to these is for Blood for the Blood God. Points are generated for each enemy entity killed. So as you get to 100, you'll be able to use this ability, and it resets and you do it again. This will then progress up to 2 more abilities that, again, the same way, you'll simply kill people to access these abilities and you'll be able to use them. One other thing though I did want to point out is with these Blood Crushers right here, they have this ability, Hellblade, and some characters will have stuff like this in Khorne, so just be mindful of it. Make sure you're looking at these abilities section. By pressing that button, you can see it quite easily. It says base weapon damage and AP weapon damage plus 20%, enabled if 60 plus kills. So what would happen is once this character reaches, or this unit reaches 60 kills, this banner will start to glow all red and fiery. That's how you know it is activated. But those are your cool, fun combat mechanics for Khorne. And with that, it covers all of Skarbrand's big mechanics and a lot of the core aspects of this campaign. So the big question is this campaign for you? How does it play? What's the overall feel? And if you want a campaign that is really going to be focused on rampaging through the world with a lot of melee-centric characters, because you have absolutely zero ranged as Khorne, well, you've got one artillery piece, then this is really going to be the campaign for you. If you want a character that can kill another greater demon like Inkari in 4 or 5 swings, this is going to be the campaign for you. If you want to use spells, if you want to focus a lot on diplomatic intrigue, not the campaign for you. You do not have any magic if you are playing as Khorne. And you'll find that you're going to reap a tally through your initial province, then into the province over here, then over here, and Inkari's like just over here. So you can expand actually very quickly with Khorne. The big challenge is that no one wants to be your friend. No one wants to be your ally. The other Norskins might at least give a non-aggression pact with you, but for the most part, it's going to be you against the world, which has got a fun feel to it. So if you want that kind of ultimate world destroyer, beater of worlds, and this is who you want to play. So Skarbrand, in my honest opinion, is my favorite of the campaign so far because he is so destructive, and I love a lot of these campaign mechanics, especially the Drawn to Destruction one, which allows you to just kind of freely go through and destroy all these settlements and have them settle themselves. So you're not just sitting there trying to worry about settlement management. Because remember now, you can press this button and the buildings will auto-construct for you if you allot enough of a budget to them. So you can really focus more on the fighting aspect of Total War in this campaign and less so of the diplomacy and the economy portion of it, because really your main goal is just to kill everything. So that is your overall scope and campaign overview here for Skarbrand the Exiled. If you have any questions, anything else I didn't cover that you want to know a little bit more about with Skarbrand, by all means, just go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.